What if I told you there was a reason you feel so tired even after a good night's sleep? What if the weight you're carrying on your shoulders isn't just responsibility, but emotional wounds that you've been ignoring for years? In this video, you'll discover the 10 most common signs of unhealed emotional wounds, and more importantly, how to start healing them today. You're not weak. You've just been carrying this pain alone for too long. If you keep ignoring these signs, they'll only get heavier over time. But if you stick with me until the end, I'll show you how to turn that pain into strength and finally find the peace you deserve. Get ready, because what you're about to discover could completely change the way you view your own emotions. Tip 1. Recognize fatigue that doesn't go away with rest. Have you ever woken up after 8 hours of sleep and still felt exhausted? This is one of the first signs that you are carrying untreated emotional wounds. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of vitamins. It's your soul crying out for help. When we ignore our emotional pain, our body absorbs all that tension. It's like carrying an invisible backpack full of rocks. The longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. The truth is that emotional wounds constantly drain our energy. Think of it this way. Imagine that you have a small leak in your house. At first, it's just a tiny drop. You put a bucket underneath it and go on with your life. But over time, that drop becomes a trickle, then a bigger leak, until one day you wake up to a flooded house. It's the same with our emotions. That small hurt that you decided to swallow, that disappointment that you swept under the rug, they accumulate until they steal all your vital energy. To start dealing with this, take a moment right now and ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly rested? Not physically, but emotionally. If you can't remember, it's time to pay attention. Start by creating moments of silence in your routine. Even if it's just 5 minutes before bed to talk to yourself, without judgment, just listening to what your heart has to say. The direct benefit of acknowledging this fatigue is that you stop blaming yourself for not having energy. You understand that it's not weakness, it's humanity. And when you understand this, you can start treating the real cause, not just the symptoms. Your energy will slowly return like a plant that finally gets the water it needed. Tip 2. Identify disproportionate irritation with little things. You know when someone leaves their glass in the sink and you explode like it's the end of the world? Or when traffic is slow and you feel an anger that seems disproportionate to the situation? This exaggerated irritation over small things is like a thermometer for your emotional wounds. The higher the temperature, the more accumulated pain you have inside. The thing is, our emotions are like a pressure cooker. When we don't release the steam regularly, any little thing can make the pot explode. That silly argument at the grocery store isn't about the wrong change. It's about all the times you felt disrespected and swallowed it in silence. That impatience with your kids isn't about the toy on the floor. It's about feeling overwhelmed and unappreciated for months or years. The good news is that this irritation is a signal, not a sentence. It's your body telling you, hey, we need to talk about what's really going on here. When you find yourself overreacting, stop and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what's really bothering me? What old pain is this situation touching on? Practice the emotional traffic light technique. When you feel anger coming on, imagine a red traffic light in your mind. Stop. Take 3 deep breaths. Observe what you are feeling without judgment. Only then decide how to respond. Over time, you will realize that many of your outbursts were actually silent cries of hurts that needed attention, not more anger in the world. Tip 3. Recognize excessive fear of disappointment. Have you ever avoided trying something new because you were afraid of disappointment? Or perhaps you preferred not to get emotionally involved because it's failed before. This intense fear of disappointment is like an emotional scar that never quite healed. Every time you think about taking a risk, it hurts and makes you back down. When you've been hurt in the past, whether by betrayal, loss, rejection, or any other kind of hurt, your heart develops a protective system. It's as if it puts on an invisible armor to keep you from hurting again. The problem is that this armor, which was supposed to protect you for a while, ends up becoming a permanent prison. You feel safe, but you also feel alone. Fear of disappointment prevents you from experiencing things that could be life-changing. It's like having a beautiful garden, but never planting new flowers because you're afraid they'll wilt. The result? A garden that never fully blooms, even though it has all the potential to do so. To begin working through this fear, start small. Choose a low-risk situation to practice your courage. It could be trying a new restaurant, watching a new movie, or talking to someone you don't know well. The key is not to ignore your fear, but to acknowledge it and choose to act anyway. Each small, courageous step is like a salve for your emotional wound. If you're enjoying this content and want to continue receiving tips like these, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Comment below where you're watching from. I love knowing we've reached you. Tip 4. Understand the difficulty of trusting people. Do you feel like you have to do everything on your own because no one does it like you do? Or maybe you have that constant feeling that people will let you down, so it's better not to count on them. This distrust didn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of old wounds that are still raw in your heart. When someone breaks your trust, especially important people in your life, it's like breaking a precious vase. Even if you glue the pieces back together, the cracks are visible forever. And then, every new person who comes into your life, you look at them with suspicion, as if they're going to break what's left of your vase. But living without trusting anyone is exhausting. It's like being on high alert, always expecting the worst. You miss out on real connections, genuine support, and unconditional love. It's like you're turning down all of life's gifts because you're afraid they'll come with a hidden bill. Trust isn't something you give away all at once, like a key. It's something you build brick by brick, test by test. Start by noticing the little promises people make and keep. That friend who always calls when she says she will. The neighbor who always returns what he borrows. It's these little acts of trust that help remind your heart that not everyone is going to hurt you. Practice sharing small responsibilities with others. This could be asking for help with a simple task or sharing a small feeling. Like a person learning to walk after an accident, you need to take it slow, but you need to start taking those first steps. Tip 5. Identify self-criticism that is too harsh. How many times a day do you talk to yourself in a way you would never talk to a dear friend? You're stupid, you always mess up, you're useless. That cruel voice in your head is not your conscience helping you improve. It's an infected emotional wound that needs urgent treatment. Harsh self-criticism often arises when we have been criticized in a destructive way in the past. It could have been a demanding parent, a cruel teacher, a toxic relationship, or even mean schoolmates. These external voices have been internalized and now live in your mind like unwanted tenants who never pay rent but make a lot of noise and mess. The problem with harsh self-criticism is that it masquerades as motivation. I'm being hard on myself to motivate myself to improve, you might think. But in reality, it does the opposite. It's like having a coach who yells at you during practice. Instead of improving your performance, you become tense, make more mistakes, and lose confidence in yourself. To start changing this pattern, practice the best friend technique. Whenever you catch yourself being mean to yourself, stop and ask yourself, what would I say to my best friend if she were going through this? Then say those exact words to yourself. It will feel strange at first, like speaking a new language, but over time, it will become second nature. Also, make a list of your qualities and achievements. It may seem silly, but when you are used to only seeing flaws, you need to train your eye to see virtues. Reread this list whenever self-criticism strikes. Remember, you deserve the same love and patience that you give to others. Tip 6. Recognize the difficulty of saying no. Are you one of those people who works more overtime than everyone else? Who never says no to a request for help, even when they're overwhelmed? Who feels guilty at the thought of disappointing someone? This difficulty in saying no is a clear symptom of emotional wounds related to approval and fear of abandonment. When we grew up in environments where our value seemed to depend on how useful or likable we were, we developed a compulsive need to always be there for others. It was as if we had learned that our right to be loved depended on how much we did for others. Saying no meant risking rejection, and rejection meant loneliness. But the price of always saying yes is high. You become the person everyone looks to when they need something, but no one thinks to take care of when you need it. Your needs always come last. Your energy runs out and you end up resentful, even though you chose to help. It's like being a spring that never stops gushing water until one day it dries up completely. Learning to say no is like learning a new emotional language. Start by practicing in small situations and with people you don't know very well. I can't do it today, but thanks for thinking of me. I can't do it, but I hope it works out. Realize that you can be kind without sacrificing yourself. Always remember, saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. Every no you manage to say is a small act of self-respect, a small building block in the construction of a life where your needs also matter. And people who truly care about you will understand and respect your limits. Tip 7. Notice the feeling of not deserving good things. Have you ever received a compliment and thought, if only they knew who I really am? Or perhaps you sabotaged a good opportunity that came your way because it was too good to be true. This feeling of not deserving is one of the most painful and invisible emotional wounds there is. When you grow up being told that you're not good enough, that you need to try harder, or that you're always falling short of expectations, you internalize the idea that your worth as a person is limited. It's like there's an invisible ceiling over your head, preventing you from reaching your full potential for happiness and success. This wound manifests itself in many ways. You minimize your accomplishments, attribute success to luck instead of acknowledging your merits, feel guilty when you're happy, or even sabotage relationships and opportunities when things are going too well. It's as if there's an inner voice whispering that you can't occupy spaces of joy for long. To begin healing this wound, practice accepting compliments in simple ways. Instead of saying, "It was nothing," or "anyone would do that," try simply saying, "Thank you." It may seem small, but it's revolutionary. You're training your heart to believe that it can be in the spaces where it's celebrated. Make a list of all the good things you've ever accomplished, no matter how small. A smile you've brought to someone's face, a delicious meal you've cooked, a problem you've solved. You deserve recognition, starting with your own. Every moment you choose to believe in your worth is a step toward a life where you finally allow yourself to be happy. Tip 8. Identify perfectionism as an escape from vulnerability. Do you redo things over and over until they are perfect? Do you put off projects because they're not ready enough yet? Do you feel physical anxiety when something gets out of control? Perfectionism isn't about having high standards. It's about using control as a shield to avoid the pain of being judged or rejected. Perfectionism arises when we learn that our acceptance depends on not making mistakes. Maybe you grew up in an environment where mistakes were punished harshly, where almost perfect was never good enough. So you developed this shiny armor called perfection, which protects you from criticism but also prevents you from living fully. The problem is that real life is inherently imperfect. Trying to control every detail is like trying to hold water in your hands. The more you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. And while you're busy polishing every little aspect of your life, you miss the opportunity to simply live it. Practice conscious imperfection. Choose an area of your life where you can relax your standards. It could be leaving the dishes to be washed tomorrow, sending a text message with a typo, or posting a photo where you're less than perfect. Each intentional imperfection is an act of courage, a way of saying to the world, I exist beyond my successes. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. In fact, it's your imperfections, your vulnerabilities, your genuine attempts that create real connection with others. Your humanity is your greatest gift to the world, not your perfection. Tip 9. Recognize emotional isolation as protection. Are you the type of person who solves everything on their own? When you're sad, you prefer to stay in your own corner until it passes. Do you think showing vulnerability is a sign of weakness? This emotional isolation may seem like strength, but it's actually an emotional wound disguised as independence. When we have been hurt over and over again by showing our vulnerability, we learn that it is safer not to show it. If I don't say I'm hurting, no one can hold it against me. If I don't ask for help, I can't be let down. It's a logic that makes sense, but it leaves us trapped on an emotional island, surrounded by water on all sides. Emotional isolation deprives us of one of the most healing experiences there is, being seen, understood, and welcomed in our pain. It's like having a physical wound and never letting anyone help you bandage it. It may heal, but it will hurt much more and take much longer to heal. Start by sharing small vulnerabilities with people you trust. This could be telling people about a tough day you've had, admitting that you're feeling overwhelmed, or simply saying, "I need a hug." You'll find that most people don't shy away from your vulnerability. They reach out because they recognize their own humanity in yours. Remember, strength is not about facing everything alone. Strength is about having the courage to allow others to walk alongside you. When you isolate yourself, you deprive the world of the opportunity to show you love and care, and you deprive yourself of the experience of discovering that you can be loved exactly as you are, with all your frailties. Tip 10. Identify the lack of genuine joy in everyday life. When was the last time you laughed for real? When did you feel a sudden burst of happiness for no particular reason? When did you find yourself singing along while doing a mundane task? If you can't remember, you may be living on autopilot, and that's a clear sign of emotional wounds that are sapping your ability to enjoy life. Untreated emotional wounds create a kind of gray filter over our life experience. It's like living with sunglasses on all the time. You see, but you never see the vibrant colors that surround you. Genuine joy requires a certain lightness that accumulated pain robs us of. Often we get so used to this neutral state that we don't even realize that we're missing out on moments of simple happiness. We stop noticing the taste of coffee in the morning, the smell of rain, the affection in the eyes of someone who loves us. It's as if we're just going through life instead of living it. To start reconnecting with joy, practice active gratitude. Don't just list things you're grateful for, but actually stop and feel the good feelings they bring. It could be the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of a sweet fruit, the comfort of your bed at the end of the day. Give yourself permission to feel pleasure in these little things. Create intentional moments of lightness in your routine. Put on a song you love and dance, even if it's just for 2 minutes. Play with an animal. Watch something that makes you laugh. These moments are seeds of joy that, if planted regularly, will grow and bring color back into your life. You deserve to feel happy, not just survive. We've reached the end of this journey of emotional recognition and healing, and I want you to take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed. Acknowledging your emotional wounds is not a sign of weakness. It's the first courageous step toward freedom. Each tip I've shared is like a different key. You don't have to use them all at once, but each one you try will open doors to a lighter, more authentic version of yourself. Remember, healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means integrating your experiences in a way that they no longer control your present. It means consciously choosing how you want to relate to your emotions from now on. The path to healing is not linear. There will be better days and worse days, but every step you take is valuable and worth celebrating. You've already taken the first step by watching this video so far. It shows that you have the courage to look at your wounds and the determination to change them. Now I challenge you. Choose one of the tips that touched your heart the most and practice it today. It can be something small, like complimenting yourself in the mirror or sharing a feeling with someone you trust. The important thing is to start. And tell me in the comments, which of the 10 emotional wounds did you identify with the most? Your honesty can help other people who are going through the same thing feel less alone. Until the next video, and always remember, you are stronger and more valuable than your wounds make you believe.